Hey there guys, and welcome to another FPV guide video. This week I'm going to be taking a look again at the Walkera F215, and you'll remember I unboxed and looked at this one and really liked it. First I saw it at the CES show, and then I got hold of a prototype. Prototypes, you never quite know what you're looking at because they're not always the final product. However, this is the prototype. It doesn't have any markings. There goes my goggles, my fat sharks. And this one has pretty much been going flying with me. It's here on top of my think tank drone backpack. Radio sitting up on the top here. And this has been going flying with me ever since January. So I'm really happy with this thing. It's an easy flyer. It's damn sturdy. It's taking a good abuse. It's super easy to set up. And I told you back then that this is using Clean Flight on an F3 controller. Sure, the F3 controller is a little dated. However, it's easy to work with. So this is a really straightforward quad. And one of the reasons I keep using Walkera's quads like the 210 and now the 215 is because the price point is inexpensive. They're great and easy to get into, and we're basically here now looking at, and it's now up finally on Walkera's website, we're looking at $340 ready to fly with the radio and $299 B&F without the radio. So that is an entry-level point that's very, very hard to beat. And before you guys start flaming me, I know you can build a cheaper quad. However, it's the package. A lot of times it's the sum of the parts. And for the money here, you get a really decent little quad. I would not be backing on this thing. You will also remember that back then I had only a white box. That's always the downside with prototypes. They're prototypes. They didn't even have a decent box for it yet. However, this is now a shipping product, and look at this. We have got an officially printed box. I know, I sound way too excited about a printed box, but it's cool. And it's quite thick. And as usual, the foam from Walkera is quite good, and this can actually be used as your flight box, or you can take the 2 layers of foam and pop it into something like a Pelican box, and you have everything organized in a Pelican case. So let's pop this open and see what we get for our $340, which is this box right here. If you're getting the thinner package, which is the $299, then you get just the quad. And there you got it. The first thing we find in here is, of course, the manual. I love that Walkera still actually bothers to print up a full-on manual. You can read through it, and importantly, it has the setup information in case you need to set up your radio or one of the other Walkera radios. So manual, and over here we find propellers. Let's show them right here. Let's just crack one open. There you go. And about bloody time, Walkera. We've got colored propellers because, as you know, everybody flying race quads use colored propellers. These ones are 50-40, and cool enough, look, they're just straight shaft. They're not twist-ons like the 210, meaning you can use any similar 50-40 or any crazy combination like a 6-blade turbofan look prop that fits on the shaft, and you can fly it as long as it's not larger than 5 inches. One of the great things with Walkera is they always ship their stuff with 2 sets of propellers. Huge thumb up, because there is nothing worse than getting a brand new quad, go out, bust a couple of props, and you're out of business until you get more propellers. So that's one of the things that Walkera gets right. They throw a couple of extra props in all their boxes. Let's just work our way around. Here we have the aircraft, but we're going to look at all the parts around it. Right here we have the 1300 milliamp 4S 60C battery. 60C is a big number, and I never quite know if these things are 60C. Like, there's a lot of stuff being advertised at 75 and 80 Cs that frankly is not that aggressive. So but it is advertised to be a 1300 milliamp 4S60C battery. Here in the other end of the case, we find the circular polarized antenna, and Valkira's antennas are always left-hand circular polarized. That means you need to use a left-hand circular polarized antenna on your goggles. So where I usually fly right-hand polarized, I always have a set of left-hand polarized antennas for my goggles so that I can fly. Or of course, if you buy one of the Goggle 4 from Walkera that comes with a dual antenna setup, those kits actually includes a left-hand polarized antenna. That's a perfect match for this one. Now right over on the other side of this case here, we find the charger. And you'll remember from the prototype, I didn't actually have a 4S charger, and I showed you the charger from the Walkera 210. However, it turns out Walkera have actually come up with a slicker, more compact charger case. It works exactly the same way. So basically you grab the battery and you prop the battery right in here to the 4S. And one of the cool things with this is it's a balance charger. That means as you charge and as it finishes charging, it's gonna balance your battery so that each cell is correctly at 4.20 volts, which is where it's supposed to be. One of the cool updates to this charger, you can see each cell number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as it balances it, it's gonna be blinking red across all of these, and when it's ready to be used, they will all 4 be green. So this is great because it's a balance charger. It is gonna take good care of your battery. And of course on the other end right here, it has the standard cable. You just plug it in here, and depending where you're at in the world, Walkera includes a cable that should fit your local power plug. And you can charge anywhere from 110 to 240 volts with this charger. So brilliant. I like International Universal Charger. Keep stuff simple, and it also saves money for Walkera, being that they don't have to have 5 different chargers that they ship. Let's just keep digging through more of the stuff here. Over here we have a bunch of cool little bags. They actually put in some extra LED lights. And then we have it back here. Let's get back to this one. And down here, look at that. In my review in January, I was complaining that they just had their usual teeny little wrench. And guess what? Walkera has been listening. They're putting in a decent wrench in this one. Let's crack this open. And look at this. Walkera, this is completely a rock star move. Huge thumbs up. Finally, one of your mini race quads comes with the prop tools we need. So here it is. You can handle your prop nuts right here. It's a spanner, a proper spanner for your razor. I'm actually so far very happy with the updates that Walkera have done between the prototype and the shipping product. So this is as usually, Walkera comes with the tools you need. And let's pull out the other tool. Look at this. This is a motor lock. So clearly Walkera has been listening to people that actually flies and crash. I'm pretty impressed with how fast they are improving their stuff on these things. I like that Walkera always throw in all the tools you need instead of expecting you to have a set of tools from your other quad. And then here is the mystery bag. I'm gonna come right back to this. Let's take a look at the aircraft first so we can get rid of this box. So pulling the new aircraft out, you can see that it has changed a lot. We have gotten imprinted ESCs. These are now 20 amp one-shot capable ESCs, and we have the F3 flight controller in here. Up in front here, way up in front, is 2 plugs that you can't actually see in this video, but it allows you, if you crack the lid open, to plug in and do either S-bus or PPM receiver input, meaning you can evict the Walkera receiver from the bind and fly and put in a Spectrum or FR Sky receiver. What that really means is if you buy the $299 version, you can rip out the Walkera receiver and put in, say, a FR Sky or a Spectrum receiver and fly with one of those instead. That is a huge step up because I love to fly my Spectrum radio, and I know people that is religious about their FR Sky and Taranis radios. So depending what radios you like to fly, you are now able to toss in an appropriate receiver. And because it's clean flight, you're looking at 2-3 minutes in clean flight to set up and assign the switches you want to where you want them to fly this aircraft exactly the way you like. So that makes this a $299 receiver ready option for a lot of you guys out there that just want a nicely built, ready to fly mini quad. So while we have this motor right here, let me demonstrate the little hook. See how this little hook goes right into the motor like that? Now I have got a good grip on the motor, and the next thing I do is put this down and twist off the nut. So there we go. That is all it took to really release a super stock propeller. Finally, over in the far corner here, we find a extra battery strap and a bit of Velcro. They are probably thinking to put a Velcro on the bottom of the battery and some Velcro in here. Personally, I don't do that. I just tighten it down really good with the strap. So let's just go ahead and grab the antenna. The antenna is going to go on the back right here. I'm going to turn this around. The antenna goes in here. And again, we have in the little spanner that was included, we have the antenna spanner right here. So you can tighten this down a little bit. And then you give it about up enough so that you get about 30 to 40 degrees angle on this antenna. It's really important for your range of your video that the antenna should be level with the horizon, because a circular polarized antenna emits video in a ring around this flat disc here. And again, notice this rubber band, this clear rubber shrink wrap that Valkira put on here. They have really been listening to a lot of the feedback. A lot of times when people crash, these antennas would crack open, and they have reinforced the antenna now to take more of a beating. I'm honestly surprised how much Valkira has refined this aircraft since I saw the prototype. We're almost done with the top layer of the kit, and there's one back left. Look at this. We actually get an included sports camera mount. Let's crack this open and take a quick look at it. So we just need here these self-sealing bags and some things in here. Woo, parts. So now that I'm done picking up the parts that came scattered out and flew everywhere, this is the little action camera included sofa, I usually call these. And I think this rubber strap here was not a spare battery strap. It is the rubber strap for the action camera tray. Let me show you this tray a little bit more. It has 2 long screws right here. You see those 2 screws with self-locking glue on them. And it has a little pivot point, and then the sofa that we usually call it has the notch. So we put these together, and that allows you to adjust the angle of your sports camera. So you probably want the sports camera to kind of match the angle of your flight camera down here. So now, just without having tried it, this is how it's going to work. You're going to pop these 2 screws out right here, and with those out, you're going to drop these 2 screws in. I'm going to turn it sideways so you can see, and that screw down here, right up on top, is going to come through the adjustment option. So that allows you to adjust the angle of your sports camera. Because this tray here is super generic, you can put a cube on here, you can put any kind of form factor of a sports camera right on top. So this is really one more little included part that makes me like this kit more. Let me see if I can get it back in the plastic bag. There we go. I'm not good at that. Okay, everything in, everybody on board. It's back in the bag. Okay, with that put away, let's pop open the number 1 level, or the top level of the kit. So there you have it. There's only one thing left down here, and that is our Devo F7 radio. I'm gonna yank this out of here. And you already know how I feel about the Devo F7 radio. It's an older radio that is really a very good radio. It is a proper radio because it has the switches here, so you can set everything up and switches over here. And not one of those plastic toy radios we are so used to getting with inexpensive mini quads. So I'm very happy. It's a bit of a chore to learn how to program it. However, for being included in the kit, it's honestly a great little radio, and it has plenty of range, so you can comfortably fly this thing as long as you can see the video in your goggles. So I put the arm right up here. So this is arm, and now the motor spins up, put it back down, and the motor stops. That's a real easy way to manage when I fly. If I crash, I just literally push it up with my finger. I have to pull it down towards myself when I start. On the far side over here, I put my mode, so I have stability, rate, and air mode in that order. Boom, 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 right there. And that means when I start out flying, my default setting is always all switches up. Now to arm the aircraft, I flip this down and flying. And if I need to, all I have to do is flip my finger up and we are disarming, motor stops. Meaning if I already crashed, I'm coming out of the tree, let's kill the motor so that we don't destroy the props when we crash. Not that I would know that that could happen, just saying. Finally, in the box here, underneath, we find 3 plastic bags. It comes with a USB cable. As usually, Walkera includes everything you need for your quad. So here's a standard USB cable. Here is the student cable, or the trainer cable there. And that's one of the cool things about the Devo 7 radio. The Devo 7 radio can be connected to an other radio to train students, or a trainer pilot can be giving you a backup while you're flying. Of course, if you're doing high-speed, low-level passes, honestly, a backup pilot is pretty much going to see the crash the same time you see it, and therefore the two of you are going to crash. You're not going to have time to hand off to the backup pilot. But it's still cool that they include a actual trainer cable and have a trainer port on the Devo 7 radios. Finally, here is the international, or rather the US style plug for the charger. I'm just going to pull it out. There. So that's the plug right here. Total standard stuff. You guys have seen a million of them. And I like that Valkira includes them. But these days, I don't think people actually need to ship these, because we have so many of these cables from our laptops and whatnot that we really don't need one more in the house. Once again, that's just my opinion, but they are included. So everything you need to get started is in the box. All right, let's get back to the quad itself. And I'm gonna start out with throwing the battery on top. And I just kind of like to get it up here and just crank that battery belt down. It's not going anything. I wouldn't recommend putting Velcro underneath this. So we have the antenna in place, and to fire it up, all we have to do is plug it in right here. Now I have a bunch of housekeeping information that I need to get out of the way really quickly. If you look down on the side right here, see that switch right here? That is a toggle switch, and by pushing on it, you toggle through the frequencies. And by default, Valkira mini quads comes with the Valkira 8 channels, and in Europe it's a 25 milliamp unit, and I believe in the US it's a 200 milliamp unit. You can tell them apart because the US version is the 5838 transmitter, and the European version is the 5839 transmitter. Now, here's a cool little thing. After you power up the aircraft, you can go in here, and if you push on this button here for 30 seconds, before we get to that, let me real quickly show you on the other side of the transmitter here. If you flip this over, see that little line of lights here? Normally, when you push this switch, you're going to see the lights toggle from one to another. And that means you're toggling through the different frequencies on the band. However, if you hold in this button for 30 seconds, after 30 seconds, you're going to see all these lights flash. And now you can let go, and now you have switched the radio's power output to 600 milliwatt. I mean, come on, we all want more power and also therefore more range on our video. So push in the button for 30 seconds, all the lights are gonna flash, and now you have switched it up. And I imagine if you do it again, you have switched it back down to 25 milliamps. So super important little thing to make a note of, holding in for 30 seconds. Most transmitters today does a 2-second push to change band, but no, Valkira is going with dip switches. You can see when you turn this over underneath here, you see the dip switches down here, 1, 2, 3 switches, and that you can toggle between the settings here, and that allows you the total setup of 40 channels on this VGX. So with that, you have all the channels available on most other mini quads. Now take a look at this port here, and if I flip it over, you're going to see there's a similar port on the other side. That is where you can plug in the extra LEDs. Let's take a look. So there you go. This is what we get. We also get a set of zip ties. Walkera loves to include everything. I like that. So it basically just comes right down here and plugs in like that. Now this is the back side of our quad, so we probably want to put an LED up here on the arm, and the other LED would then go on the back of this arm right here, like that. So that is going to give you a lot more visibility from behind, and this here is double-sided tape, and like I said, it also came in the back here. There's a couple of zip ties. Another cool little addition, you can throw LEDs on. Now looking at the aircraft, we're looking at the final product, and you can see up on the side here, they just kind of printed in the angle your flight camera is sitting at. Here's the flight camera. It got a nice little red colored instead of the black plastic it originally had. And I don't think it's going to change the world, but it sure looks cool. It's a pretty little aircraft. I mentioned this before. Another smart move on Valkyra's part here, they have 3 Allen screws right here, and releasing these 3 Allen screws unscrews them from on the top here, and now all you have to do is unsolder with a solder iron these 3 cables right here, and you can yank the arm out. That really makes it a lot easier to change arms in case you destroy something. You can buy a right hand and a left hand motor arm and have them in stock, so that you can, if you're out playing with buddies, you can change an arm really quickly. I like that they have gone for the solder option here instead of going for, it used to be a quick connect option on the 210, which was very cool, but quick connect have the potential of getting damaged and meaning you lose power to the ESC. So I'm sure there was a good reason that they went back to solder pads right here. And these are big, easy to get to solder pads, so really anybody, even me, should be able to solder that very quickly. And the decorative angle print is on both sides right here. If you go back on the back side here, you got information and disclaimers where to plug in the battery. And on the belly here, you finally got the official CE/FCC stickers. And also you'll see down here, it tells me this is a TX5838, meaning this is the 200 milliwatt US version I have in my hand right here. Up on front, they have the diversity receiver antennas right here. So there's 2 antennas, meaning if you're flying, because remember when we fly like this, the antennas are up here, it's easy to get the battery and to hide the antenna from your controller. That's why everything these days has 2 antennas, so that if one antenna gets hidden, you can still see the other antenna. That's pretty much all the details about this. It really is a very, very pretty mini quad. It's not the latest design, but this is a really sturdy, strong, solid mini quad. And you'll see they're using 4mm here. I've been beating the shit out of the prototype unit they got me, and I haven't managed to break it. I think that's a pretty good sign, and I'm gonna hurry up and say, last time I said that, immediately somebody told me, yeah, but I got mine and I managed to turn it off 50 feet in the air and it was instantly destroyed. Hey guys, really, if you fly straight into a brick wall, you're gonna break anything. But what I mean to say is, the current designs from Valkira is definitely adequately strong to be comparable to pretty much anything else you buy on the market today. If you break this one, you would probably also have broken something else. Let's toss some props on it. Remember, the motors here are turning inwards on the front, so this one here goes that one, and this way goes this way. So we need the prop that goes like that. So this one comes off, prop down, and screw back on. So with the top screws out, we're gonna put this one in place and put the screws down. I'm gonna lift this up just a little bit before we finish, because I'm gonna grab and see I pull these two screws out here. So I'm just gonna put the couch, it's kind of a tight fit, in place here, there. So now the top goes down. Did you see that click in place right there? And the next thing I have to do is tighten these ones down and then we need the little screw that holds it. You can see it right here how that works. We have the adjustment and that screw goes in here. So put the screw on the end here and comes right in here. And that goes in nicely. So here's how I did it. I just kind of slid it through right here like that and slapped and just left the big eye up here. I put this in. So to do that, we want that down here like that. And then the GoPro slides in here. There you have it. I would say this little action camera mount is really made for like a session camera, one of those little square cubes, but it will fly my GoPro perfectly fine as well. And as you can see, it's easy to adjust. I can kind of adjust it like this until I'm gonna want it up here somewhere, kind of like that probably. So that way, that means I'm gonna get a straight picture when I'm flying. And before you start flying, make sure you crank this down. Last closing thoughts on this little, we call it a couch, the action camera mount here. It's plastic. I guarantee you when you have a hard crash, unfortunately the couch is probably gonna get destroyed. On the upside, that's not such a bad thing, because if it breaks apart, it usually saves your camera, because the camera can kind of keep moving and absorb some energy that way. So, not terribly bad design really, but I would go ahead and buy some extra of the action camera mounts right away, and I'll bet you will see some aftermarket carbon fiber setups for exactly this very, very, very quickly, because I think this couch is gonna get ripped apart now and then. Now, having installed that, remember what I was mentioning. Here was the little bag I was gonna talk about to the end of this video. And guys, Valkira is just really wanting you to buy this quad. In here you find a dongle, so that is a USB dongle for a PC. And this dongle here is Valkira's MR multi-rotor simulator. So you can download the MR multi-rotor simulator, and with this dongle here and this plug, you can plug into the back of the Devo 7 and you can practice flying with the Devo 7 on your PC with this little dongle plugged into your PC. Seriously guys, that is cool, because what we're really getting here is we're getting the Walkera F215 and the radio and the simulator so that you can practice flying for $330 US. Guys, whatever you think about the couch option for the camera, that is a shockingly good value, and it's just simply a decent value for a ready-to-fly mini copter, 215 millimeter mini copter. So with that said, I would say hop on out to a Valkira distributor and take a look at this thing in real life. And I know some of you guys are already flying this thing. So by all means, sound off in the commentaries and let me know how you like it. I'm pretty confident nobody is really calling this a dud. So there you have it. Stay tuned for more videos, and we've got more products we're going to be showing you here in the spring. Make sure you subscribe and see more videos coming up. I really like this thing. It is just damn cool.